pistol corner. This is where we talk about pistols
Isn't
and
it
corners.
supposed to end at the...
Talking
Can you record? Alright, we're recording.
Hi!
Hi.
Hi!
Hi.
Welcome back to...
How are ya?
Welcome back. Welcome. Nemesis, roundtable discussion. Optics edition. What are we talking about today, guys?
Optics.
Alright.
I'm surprised we nailed that. Good job, guys.
Alright.
We're gonna edit that part out.
No, we're not.
Probably not.
This is gonna be a short episode, so nothing's getting edited out.
That's a lot.
Optics!
Optics!
So let's start with optics here. Why optics?
Because they're cool.
Because they help you with target acquisition.
Truth.
Because we love having to get on the field and at the last second realize that the battery's dead.
Truth.
No, that's a good point, because there's kind of a divide, I think, in airsoft. There's the people who run optics only because they look cool and they actually never aim down them, and then there's the people like us who just can't physically hold a gun that's not zeroed. Yeah, that's how he got his call sign. Well, one of the ways. But for me, I know I need my optics to be dead on zeroed. Not necessarily on elevation, because that's always going to change, but left and right.
Windage.
And I think that, yeah, on windage. And I think the reason for that is because it's just faster. That, to me, it's always just going to be faster. But everybody just got their own opinions on that.
Some people would agree that faster is much better.
So I'd say not everyone on our team uses optics. Milsim, for example, refuses to use optics. She just doesn't want to waste the time with it. She just uses iron sights. But other than her, I think pretty much an optic-friendly team. For different reasons. I know myself, I have to have an optic that is zeroed and on point. I'll even adjust it in the middle of a firefight. People will see me duck behind cover, unscrew these caps, and start adjusting it just because it bothers me so much. Zach, what do you run optics?
Yeah, I run two different types of optics. On my 416, I run this EOTech right here, which I just kind of did a dusty paint job on.
Is that the XPS3?
Yes. It is actually a replica. It's pretty much just a Chinese import that I got through a couple buddies.
A replica.
Yeah, it's a
Unbelievable.
replica. I can't
Who
believe
runs replicas?
Who buys replicas?
Who buys replica
replicas?
sites?
Jeez.
But
for airsoft.
I know, God. Anyway, I run the EOTech just because I actually really like the style of them. I know they're kind of going out of favor now and doing some weird stuff, but I like the style. I like the big widescreen and field of view through the optic.
Yes.
But this is what I use for my close range gun. For a long range gun, I run an optic very similar to this. I run a AIM Sports 1.5 to 4 power optic, which I love for a little bit longer engagements that you can really kind of track the BB and just see where it's ending up. Again, if it's zeroed properly.
Ryan, what kind of optics do you like to run?
What kind of optics do you run?
What kind of two types of optics do you like to run?
You like big optics, or
I
do
run-
you like small optics?
I like them both. I'm equal opportunity. On most of my guns, I run the Aimpoint replicas. This is my newest gun, but I got the new Hollow Sun HS403A. This is an actual real steel
T1.
It's like a
It's easier
T1
to
replica,
say, I
but
like
it
that
doesn't use the rest of the stuff. It's pretty neat. When you pick up the gun, it turns on. When the gun is stationary for a while, it turns off. 50,000 hours of runtime
I was gonna say,
one battery.
It's gonna be on the whole trip down to Broken
Yeah,
Home,
it's
but
gonna
who
be-
cares? That's only 10 hours.
50,000 hours of runtime.
$50 million. Crazy.
A small load of $1 million.
It's two MOA. It's made for real steel AR-15s and whatnot, so it can take the abuse. That's why I got it. It's not super expensive. They're like $170, but they're. I can take this off
for airsoft, but I mean you're paying for quality.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
best
I can take
airsoft
this off and put it on my AR-15. Other than that, I have my brand new Red Wolf Airsoft 2.5 by 10 optic. This thing is illuminated, It's
I
got
love the turrets.
so the turrets are just great. They're
Turrets.
so smooth. You press them down, make the adjustment. Other than that, they move a little bit.
Now the short dots, they're becoming really popular in the
Yes,
past
they are.
couple of years. Why do you guys think that is?
Because you get the
I don't know. I
kind
think
of
they're
get the
ugly
best
as
of
sin.
you get the best of both worlds for the most part.
Personal opinion. Asterisk.
I agree. I mean, I think everyone's always liked the look of scopes for airsoft. I mean, a lot of video game influence, a lot of military influence, but just scopes look badass on the top of
How
a
many
rifle.
times have you seen a kid with almost a Springer M4 running with a full sniper
Yeah,
scope
like
on
a
top of
50
it?
millimeter, 16 power scope. I think the short dot, I mean, it has some influence in the sporting community, but I think a lot of it has to do with the low magnification working well with airsoft. I mean, you got as low as on that one Ryan's holding is a 1.5 times power, and it almost looks like you're just looking through a piece of glass with a reticle in it. And you can go up to the 4. Oh, well, on this one, it actually goes all the way up to 10, but I think most of them go up to about 4 times, which can help you with your long shots to confirm whether or not you're actually hitting the prison. Because I know the white BBs can get lost at the maximum range.
Where are you guys getting scopes like that?
Red Wolf.
That one's from Red Wolf. This one I got on Amazon, and I think it was actually cheaper than my Hollow Sun was. This was maybe $109,
That's like your
$120.
basic short dot there.
This is a monster 1.5 by 4 by 24, and this has been a really good one. I haven't gotten to actually try that one out. That's one I have for my DMR setup because it has a little more magnification. Goes out to 10. This only goes to 4. 4 for me is just perfect
I agree.
for airsoft. It's not too close. It's not too far.
It's good for those long 200 plus range shots where you're like, where exactly is it hitting? Like going through that window, is it falling short? How can I confirm it? You pull up to the 4 magnification, you can tell.
It's pretty good. This one also has really nice turret, so it's illuminated. Comes with a pretty nice scope mount. It's actually the scope mount that it came with on that one. This one is a LaRue SBR low mount that I got for it. It's a replica. I don't know what company it was, but I think it was like $30-40.
But yeah, I run a Red Wolf sight too, Red Wolf short dot, and if you want one of the sights with the cool reticles inside, the gadgets, the cool turrets, the illumination, definitely check out Red Wolf. They got a few options for short dots, and it's definitely a cool place to go to get some of the higher quality, but not breaking the bank type short dots. Moving away from short dots here, I'm going to take that off the table. Other magnified sights, BH.
One of the most popular sites out there forever, it seems like, as soon as they came out, you've seen them on SOP mop builds, you've seen them on regular M4 builds, you've seen them pretty much on any M4 ever. Yeah, is the ACOG. They come out with a bunch of different types of ACOG. This one in particular has a combination of a RMR. Obviously, this is all mock builds and an actual trigger kind of site, but you got your mock RMRs, the mock ACOG. This one actually has
Rough iron.
the iron sights built in as well as the optic cable. So when you look through this light, when you look through this scope here, it takes the ambient light from the area and transmits it into the scope, and you actually get a little lit up
battery,
which is really cool because I've had it before. I don't know about you guys, but I used to run an EOTech like that, and when you're outside and you transition to the inside light, it gets darker. Sometimes you run into those pitch black rooms, you look down your sight, and it's almost blinding you and taking away your night vision. Yeah. Whereas this this optical fiber here, it dims once you go into an area where it doesn't have a whole lot of
but
ambient light.
it still is, it like appears to be bright.
Right, exactly. And then obviously the RMR on top, it's just a little dot that's right in the middle of the scope there. It's easy for quick target acquisition if you're in close range. And then obviously you have your iron sights that are always a backup. I got this sight off of AliExpress. I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie, ordering from a site company off of China. But it came in the mail a couple days ago, and I gotta say, I am not disappointed with the quality of it. The RMR is plenty bright. You can see the little red dot in the middle of it. The optical fiber transmits the light into the middle of the reticle perfectly. I haven't zeroed it really on a rifle yet, so the jury's still kind of out on that. I don't know how well it's going to hold a zero, but it's definitely a big step up from previous ACOG, mock ACOG sights that I have on some of my other guns that are just a simple red dot. This one, like the other guys were saying, it magnifies 4 times. It's a 4x32 scope, which, yeah, in my opinion, it's the absolute perfect magnification for airsoft. It's just enough to where it's effective up to a distance, but it's not too much to where you feel like, you're shooting that BB and it's, nowhere even in the field of view, and it's also giving you enough magnification that, you see, we've all been in that position where you see those players out there, what color camo are they wearing. I'm not really sure.
Good for IDing, scoping out.
You can look through that scope and you can find it pretty easy.
Another cool thing is if it doesn't hold a zero can hold it.
Truth. Shoots and I, we have a lot of experience with magnifying scopes. We both ran bolt action rifles for probably 4 or 5 years. And we definitely found that 4 times magnification to just be that perfect sweet spot. Because when you get any higher than that, it really slows down how quickly you can get your eye on that focal point of the sight. And with the 4 times magnification, it's quick acquisition. Still, you don't really have to adjust the focus of the lens very much, and it's really detailed as far as seeing where that BB is going to go. 4 times seems to be that great spot for the distance the BB can fire.
I agree. Also, some people, kind of on a side note here, some people will stick with one optic for every op. Some people will say, this is the thing that I'm going to use for every single op. Doesn't matter if it's a longer range op, like an all outdoor op, playing woods ball, or a CQB op where you're playing room to room. This is what I'm going to use. I'm not one of those people. If you're one of those people, great. It's just not how I roll. If I'm running a op where I know it's going to be CQB a lot of the time, I'll run an EOTech. If I know it's an op where I'm going to have to reach out and touch someone from a longer distance, I'm going to run something like this that has a 4 times magnification. Again, if it's something that's really up close and personal, I might just run something as simple as a red dot where I'll be able to get on target super quick with it. So it's one of those things, again, where it's all player preference. So you have to find out what works for you. We can give you all the advice in the world. We can tell you what we run, but it really comes down to what you find works for you. And unfortunately, it's taken me a matter of 7 years to find out what really works for me. A lot of these other guys have blown through optics like toilet paper, and it takes a lot to figure out what really works for you and what helps you out on the field. We're just hoping that these videos that we're putting out for you help kind of narrow it down a little bit and help you kind of steer in the right direction as far as figuring out the possibilities of what could work for you. That being said, we'll move on to Zero here. The guy who probably has the most experience with scopes and trying to figure out what works best for what rifle platform.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, the 4 times zoom with the zoom optics seem to be really good. Obviously we endorse the short dots. A lot of our team uses the short dot style rifle. PH prefers the fixed focus ACOG. I mean, if you're looking for durability, fixed focus is going to last you. If you're looking for, style points, adaptability, you can get the variable zoom on a short dot, but I have seen these short dots, and myself it's happened, where this little cone at the end here, the variable zoom part can fall out of zero or actually even bend out of shape and screw with your target acquisition and getting right down on the focus point of that optic. As far as dot sights go, we've had a lot of issues with some of these repro sights not holding together. I have a box at home of 4 Aimpoint M2 repros and 2 T1 repros. I know Ryan's had some issues in the past with some certain brands of T1s not even being able to zero. The mounts were so off kilter that you couldn't even get the dot down to where you wanted to aim. Like Ryan said, for the T1, if you're going for the T1, they also make an M2 replica. Hollow Sun is a fantastic option to go for.
They even have an M2
Right, that's what I
esque
said.
looking one that when I read some of the
They have solar assist. They have solar assist.
yeah they have solar assist ones
T1s.
for the
T1s.
for this one too. They're a little bit more money. They're usually like $200, but I'm like I didn't need that. I figured 50,000 hours on one one
Saving the money there
CR123
anyway.
is just fine with me. I don't have to worry about this for a long time.
But other brands that I've seen that I really like, since I've used this M2 style optic for almost a decade. I love this optic. I get a large field of view, plenty of battery life, and it's just very basic, very no nonsense. It's kind of not in your way when it's up on the gun. The best brand I've found for these M2 style optics are the NC Star ones, and I know NC Star can make some really weird looking stuff, but their M2 optics are really good because they take button cell batteries instead of the little tiny, almost like ear.
LR44s.
Yeah, those batteries don't last very long at all. But these 2032 button cells on this barrel adjuster here works really well. Another thing I notice a lot with the repro sights is one reason I hate the EOTechs personally is that because they're a holographic sight, if you try and look down the EOTech downrange, you're gonna have shading. Every EOTech sight's going to be almost like looking through sunglasses.
Ghosting.
Yeah. Well, ghosting too. But the shading, I really want a clear optic that has true light as like everything else around it. I don't like it to be a shaded lens or a tinted lens or anything like that, which is really why I stay away from the EOTechs. But the Aimpoint M2s and the T1s tend to have really clear sight pictures comparatively, and that's why I prefer those. But let's go to Zach for why you should get an EOTech or why you shouldn't get an EOTech.
Okay, this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive considering how I'm the guy with the EOTech, but I won't be running an EOTech from here on out. The only reason I am is because it hasn't broken yet, and I don't really have any reason to change that because I can get other stuff. But like Corey said, the shading through gets a little annoying as well. I am starting to really like smaller, and lighter, especially because of my job, trying to go through and be as fast and light as I can. And the EOTechs, they're just unnecessarily big and chunky. They are an old optic. They were one of the first on the market in the real world, and that just translates over into this. And so by design, they're just going to be bigger and heavier. And there's really no other advantages that I get with this optic over a T1. So, I mean, take that with what you want. They look sexy.
They're badass.
I mean, they look awesome. They look really cool with the magnifier behind them. But as far as practicality goes, I honestly can't in good conscience recommend it. But what I can recommend, as we were talking about brands here, is, from what I've found, the best airsoft optic are cheap, real steel optics. Companies like Bushnell, Milsim, like he said.
Centerpoint.
Yeah, other companies like that are just cheap, real steel ones that you wouldn't necessarily put on your real AR because they may not hold as you want a real one, are perfect for airsoft.
Like $60 to $100.
Yeah.
Just super quick, one of those other drawing points as far as airsoftry goes is if you're going to go down the road of having an optic, you want to have something that's got a cool reticle. That's one of the reasons, I mean, I run one of these M2s on some of my guns, and these red dots are cool, but EOTech makes some cool reticles on their sights. ACOGs have cool reticles. These short dots have some cool reticles. That's one of the things that comes into play when you're buying a sight is just,
Cool factor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's a part of the game
Yeah.
of airsoft, and a lot of these optics, that's one of the big selling points, especially with the hollow sights like the EOTechs. There is just the cool reticle. So that being said, find out what works for you. Like I said, we can talk till we're blue in the face and try to steer you in the right direction, but a lot of this stuff is just trial and error, and it depends on what kind of event that you're going to, whether it's long distance or something where you need to acquire targets super rapidly.
Also, do your research. Find out from your friends and whatnot about ones that work the best, that have the highest quality, and find one that you like, not one that necessarily your friends like. Because as you can see, all of us use a different optic because it works for each one of us.
Alright guys, like we said, it's all about the fun. It's all about what you want. Thanks for listening. Once again, this is Nemesis Airsoft with our roundtable discussion. See you later.
Peace out, Greg.